Well, the bill that was passed by Senate Republicans today basically would let any business reopen with precautions regardless of the governor's executive orders. It would be up to those businesses to come up with plans that comply with government safety guidelines.
We know that we can operate safely. I had a business owner who called me up, he reached out, he contacted me, and he laid out what his safety plan would be. He had already come up with it.
Convinced that curbside just can't measure up to the real thing, Senate Republicans say it's time to trust small businesses the same way big retailers have been trusted.
There are people who want to do business something other than going in the big box store. They find themselves, many Minnesotans, that they would feel much safer if they could go in a little box store.
The GOP bill would allow businesses to reopen their doors as long as they comply with Minnesota Department of Health and CDC guidelines for social distancing and infection control, and they could not be fined or lose a license for violating the governor's emergency orders. Democrats warn business owners aren't experts in infectious diseases.
Just if they come up with a plan. Doesn't have to be approved by anyone, doesn't have to be looked at by anyone, doesn't have to take into consideration the health of workers.
I mean, we are in a really tough situation that's unpredictable and horrific. And we have a governor who I think has handled this as well as could be helped, given all the crazy unknowns happening all the time.
Republicans questioned the governor's game plan, pointing to recent modeling showing a scenario 5, shutdown continuing through May, a July 27th peak, and higher ICU demand and higher death numbers.
Which scenario are we following in this model? I've asked it in committee. Is the governor using it to make decisions?
Well, the governor has said along the lines here that he finds those modeling, those examples done by the U of M and the MDH as tools. They're part of the information he uses to inform his decisions. So he hasn't said a particular model or scenario is being used. And we should hear more about models later this week. Essentially, though, this right now, the bill that was passed by the Senate today is largely symbolic because the companion version of this bill over in the House does not have any traction yet. Back to you.